sing or you play? Your choice.
My voice is questionable. But I'm gonna make music.
How are you?
I know, I'm so happy to see you, but you haven't been my Mrs. Krantz. Are you going at this point in my life that I believe that you're not Mrs. Krantz? Okay. Okay. Thanks up for money. Mrs. Krantz is my mother who wants to. I'm back at the door. Thank you so much.
That was a moment. That was not even for real.
I always have to do me another way on a permanent basis.
I'm just fixing the microphone. I'm just fixing the microphone.
Welcome, everyone. It is so nice to see so many of you here today on this foolish Sunday morning. We are a welcoming and a loving congregation, and we look forward to being with you after the service at the sweet tooth table in the back, and we can get something to eat, breakfast, bagels, cookies, juice, and thank you for coming.
And we welcome back our guest speaker today, Emily Bengals. And today's land acknowledgement. We are here on the ancestral lands of the Merrick. We were put upon Turtle Island to be caretakers, to gather in a good way, to be with Earth's children in all of their forms, those of the land, the water, and the air. Let this land acknowledgement be the return to unity. Let us be guardians of the waters, air, and earth. the four-legged, the flyers, the swimmers, the crawlers, the mammal people, and the green. Let us be the guardians of harmony and kindness.
I just put it down there, thank you. Ask me. Sometime when the river is ice, ask me mistakes I have made. Ask me whether what I have done is my life. Others have come in their slow way into my thought, and some have tried to help or to hurt. Ask me what difference their strongest love or hate has made. I will listen to what you say. You and I can turn and look at the silent river and wait. We know the current is there, hidden, and there are comings and goings from miles away that hold the stillness exactly before us. What the river says, that is what I say.
Okay? Good, good. This is 108, My Life Flows On in Endless Song. All right, we're just gonna, while you look for it, we'll play a little bit from here, right? Okay.
On the back of the program, responsive reading, our shared Unitarian Universalist values. Love is at the heart of our values. We promise to live our values every day with love at the center of all things. Equity is the value of our inclusive community. We believe in the inherent worthiness of all. Interdependence teaches us we are all connected We will only be whole when we live as co-inhabitants of the world. Justice is essential for peace and building a beloved community. We will work to dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and in our institutions. Generosity expresses compassion, gratitude, and hope. We will offer our faith, ourselves, and our resources. Pluralism encourages respect for diverse beliefs and allows us to be curious as we learn from one another. Transformation allows us to adapt to an ever-changing world. We are evolving and growing. We are never perfect. Oh, okay. We will do that. Thank you, I do. For the peace candle, I am going to share the lyrics of the song that we played at the beginning. Let the life I've lived speak for me. Let the life I've lived speak for me. When I come to the end of this road and I let down my heavy load, let the life I've lived speak for me. Let the friends I've made speak for me. Let the work I've done speak for me. And above all, let the love I've shared speak for me and speak for all of us.
UUCCN is a community of people who strive to be welcoming, caring, hospitable, and loving. We know that the spark of our joys can be amplified when we share them with people who are cheering us on, and the weight of the burden of our sorrows can be lightened when shared with those who are committed to our mutual well-being. Now is the time when you may share a joy or a sorrow that is on your heart this morning. Please raise your hand and I will recognize you. Harry?
It's always a joy to be here. I just spoke in the Unitarian congregation years ago when I went to a memorial service for a friend, and I met the principal and said, I belong here. So thank you for welcoming me where I belong. The joy and sorrow which makes my daughter still grieves the loss of our dad, and I thank Reverend Pizza for being kind enough to call her and console her. It meant a lot to her. So that's an example of comforting each other in sorrow and making us feel better.
Natalie?
I just want you to know that this is one of my very favorite students. She was one of the brightest, kindest kids I've ever had in my class. And we have maintained friendship all this time. And thank you so much for coming today.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mickey?
Yeah, I just want to say that on Friday night, my father was one person and they were in the classroom here. My father was 98, I don't know if he's on hospice too. Yeah.
Fred?
Well, first of all, thank you for welcoming me. I was a pumpkin patch manager for about 12, 13 years. And the past 3 years, I've been living in California for 19 years until 3 months ago. I moved back to upstate New York. And I always felt that this was kind of a home for me. I always felt very welcome here. Kind of like a New York family in a lot of ways. I don't have as many occasions to come here to visit sisters that way, but I'm so happy that Jason and Anita invited me to their soiree yesterday, and I'm glad to come on out, and I'm happy to see everybody.
Brett, thanks for giving us all the joy you showed up.
I hope the joy's not over.
Yeah.
Can I just do with Grandma Brad? My 25-year-old granddaughter is a plain back from Greece today, and on August 1st, she starts in the Metropolitan Opera.
My goodness.
Wow. All in the state of Vermont. And Josie made she worked there.
Can you get a ticket?
I am just sharing the joy of friends, old and new, and being back together, being able to make the drive with my mom for a one-day stint here.
It's a great day trip.
Yeah, exactly.
May we remember those who have spoken, those they have named, and those we hold inside us in our hearts. And now for some announcements. I have 3 announcements today. The first is that on Thursday, July 31st, the book club is going to be meeting on Zoom at 8 p.m. We'll be discussing The Message by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Check the weekly email for some more information about that. And then another announcement, I posted it in the UUCCN Facebook page, and I'm just going to pull that right up. We have been a wonderful congregation. I guess that should have been my joy, is that last week we had a beautiful event here in the afternoon. The Pallybirds Poetry and Music Coalition had met here, and they had a beautiful performance of music and poetry for peace in Palestine and around the world, and it was just an amazing event, and I'm thankful to everybody who came. And something that's wonderful about UUCCN, we talk about being the little engine that could, people notice. And when community groups reach out to us and say, can we use your group for our events, can we use your group, can we use your space for our event, will you show up to help us? Will you be there? It's wonderful to say yes, like the hymn says, tell them I said yes to life. So the NYCLU has reached out to us and asked us to participate if anybody is available tomorrow. I know it's a work day, but tomorrow at the Nassau County Legislature at 1550 Franklin Avenue in Mineola, show up at 12:30 and wear white if possible. Our state senators have been trying to get into the parts of Nassau County Jail that ICE has been using to house people that they've arrested. It's not clear what the conditions are like there and if they're able to access lawyers. So we're going to have people to show up and to ask to speak to the Nassau County Legislature about what's going on in our county, what our county is allowing the federal government to do with our buildings and our resources that we pay for. So ask me if you have questions or see the notice in the UUCCN Members and Friends Facebook group. I think that's all for announcements.
Now it is time for our offering and thanksgiving. We here share our plate with another organization that has similar values as ours. And we have chosen the Navajo School to share our plate with. The Navajo School are the children in New Mexico. There are pumpkins on ground. The Navajos grow our pumpkins and they drive them here to us, and we sell them, and it's fair trade. We share the profits, and we want to help those children get their supplies, their teachers, their bathrooms, whatever those children need in that school. We're sharing the plate with them. So please be as generous as you possibly can. Thank you very much.
place just right. Truth be in the valley of life. When true simplicity is gained, to bow to when we share, to turn, we are blind till by turn, we come around right. 'Tis a gift to be loved and to love in return. 'Tis a gift to be taught and a richer gift to learn. When we expect of others, when we try to live each day, and we'll all live together and learn to stay when simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we shed shame, to turn, will be our life, to right, turning, we come round right. 'Tis the gift to have friends, and a true friend to be. 'Tis a gift to think of others, and not only think of me. And when we hear what others really think and really feel, then we'll all live together with love that is real. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we shed no shame, to turn, will be our life, till by turning, we come round.
Thanks for having me back here. Elizabeth asked me to send her a bio, and I didn't because I was playing the flute. And I'll just reintroduce myself very quickly. I'm Emily Bengals. It says Amelia. My Facebook persona is Amelia. And I, yep, yes. And I am a teacher and a musician in New Jersey. I lead the First Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Hunterdon County's music program. I do a lot of musical theater. I'm on the board of the UUCCN, the Unitarian Universalists for Jewish Awareness nationally. And I'm from here. So I'm grateful to be back. Oh, and my doctorate was in Holocaust and Genocide Studies. I work a lot with refugee children and refugee advocacy. So the topic that I'm sharing today, in part, comes through deeper connections that I gained while doing my research over the years. All right. I was a high school senior the first time I came here. It was on Christmas Eve. I played the flute with former member of this congregation, Mrs. Dodd, and little did I know then how important the UU world would become for me. Little did I know that some 30 years later I'd be on the national board for UUs. Back then I spent so much time wishing on stars, hoping that someday I'd find friends who really appreciated my brand of creative thinking. I didn't always see the friends who were right here in front of me. Little did I know that I would finally find and reignite these friendships with people in the UU world, both here and new ones in New Jersey. What I did know then, December of 1991, is that I felt very comfortable and welcomed here, and I still do. Thanks for having me back. That same year, the U.S. was involved with a war with Iraq. My childhood was mostly during a time of peace, so this was new. But that previous summer, Iraq had invaded Kuwait. The Bengals clan was driving across the country when it happened, and Dad pulled me aside outside at a gas station. "Look, Emily," he insisted, "look at the price of gas." And aside, it was 67 cents, and that was high for the time. He continued, "You will never see prices this low again." I probably mouthed off, "How do you know?" You don't know everything, because that's what 17-year-olds do, especially 17-year-old questioning me. But he explained to me how something like an invasion on the other side of the world would affect the whole world market. I was mind blown. I began to think a lot about how we are all connected. It was the beginning, I guess, of my creating my own theology. I identify as a Junitarian Quaker. Dad's economics lesson made me think of Mom's literature lessons. You might know Ray Bradbury's short story in which a time traveler steps off the path in the days of the dinosaurs and accidentally steps on a butterfly. When he returns to the present day, everything is changed. It's from this piece of literature that we have the idea of the butterfly effect. I began to wonder what reactions would be in my wake, what I would affect, and how I could make that for good. Senior year is a time of great reflection. You know, all those college essays and goodbyes and anticipatory new things as well as losses. I knew I wouldn't make a Jurassic impact on the world, but I also knew that I wanted to leave the world better for my being here. Though many of my mentors, notably not Anna Lee, encouraged me to veer away from the field of education, many of them feared that I would be frustrated with the politics and lack of teacher empowerment. They were right, but I still love teaching, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I knew, and I know now, that teaching is how I can have the kind of impact I desired and still desire. Look at the impact Anna Lee has had. In feeling like we are all connected and that we can have profound effects on one another with even small actions, I knew I could help children grow with hope. I knew I could help all children be seen and heard. I also felt a strong urge to pass on the love I had been given and the love I continue to receive. My mantra is, I do this to honor the love I've been given, and I've been given a lot. But I mentioned this was at the beginning of the Gulf War. My mom pulled me aside in the living room one day. Mom, do you remember this? Emily, she said, if there is a draft, I think women will be drafted along with the men. There wasn't so much equality last time when there was a draft, but you don't want to be enlisted. You are a peace activist. Actually, at that point, I was a pacifist. It wouldn't hurt to choose a Quaker college. I know you like Bryn Mawr and Haverford. You have pacifist tendencies. That would be a lot safer. She didn't tell me where to go. It was just one of those thoughts, but it resonated with me. I did go to a Quaker college. I chose the school not because of its Quaker roots, but because I met students who wanted to talk about Jane Eyre and the birth of planets and other big ideas. But what's important is just around the same time that I was being exposed to Unitarian Universalism, the idea of Quakerism also entered my sphere. So what I'm going to do next is talk a little bit about how they're different and then how they're similar. Outwardly, there are a lot of differences between the two faiths or cultures. I think most notably in the reputation that they kind of have. We don't really understand or know Quakerism as much as in American society, and people don't always know so much about Unitarianism, but we both have fundamental impacts on American and world culture. Quakerism has strong roots in England, way back in the 1650s. There was a civil war going on in Britain back then, and with any kind of civil war comes a lot of questioning about cultural patterns, kind of like an old-fashioned 1960s. A group of friends, another word for Quakers, thought that traditional church services created a gap, or even a barrier, between individuals and the holy. Instead, they sought a personal connection with God, very different from a pope or a king. They looked for a simpler, more peaceful way of life, and saw the inner light in everyone. This was rather heretical for the time period, and the Quakers were regularly persecuted for their beliefs. That led to a group coming over to America, and their strong roots of Quakerism, especially in Western Jersey, where I go to UU, and Eastern Pennsylvania, where I went to college. Here in Long Island, there was a very strong Quaker community from the very beginning in Flushing and another one in Oyster Bay. Our UU culture is younger than Quakerism. Though Unitarian Universalism first came about in the 1960s as the merger of two faiths, Even those two faiths are in some ways younger than the Quakers and have a broader geographical history. The Unitarians believed in one God and not a Trinity. They had early groups back in Poland, Transylvania, and then England. The Universalists have a philosophical, that was the Unitarians. The Universalists have a philosophical history dating back to even the world of the ancient Greeks, but it grew a little bit after Quakerism in the 1700s in England, also as a response to the cultural climate, in particular as a response to Calvinism. Instead of disagreeing with the pathway to spirituality, Universalists believed there was no hell. Incidentally, Quakers now hold that belief too, and instead consider the main priority is focusing on the good you can do in the present. Let the life I've lived speak for me. When the Unitarians and Universalists joined in the 1960s, we also took from many other sources and developed our principles for the modern world, and as of last year, the new values. All the same, the two faiths are considered spiritual cousins. You see, both have a more open, accepting, individualistic view than the cultures from which they sprung. So let's see, both faiths look different today. Have you been to Quaker meeting houses? Have you been to a Quaker meeting house? Or meeting? So you understand, it's a very different feeling. It's a quiet, reflective place, sometimes a little bit bare, not very ornamented. And it's a very inward place. People do speak out, but there isn't a structure for prayer, and sometimes nobody speaks out. There's no one leading it. Core to a UU service, there's discussion and what I call scholarly spirituality. At heart, though, both seek connection and understanding on an individual and communal level. Quakers may not have had at their services big discussions, but they are known for creating many long written treatises. There are so many great journals and beautifully written credos written by the American Friends over the years. My parents' continuing care community was originally formed by Quakers, and in their library, they have a lot of these little treatises, and I keep reading them and just enjoying learning more from people who were contemplating, questioning over the years. We, Unitarian Universalists, we lay claim to the Transcendentalists. What can I say? Neither faith looks to a central figure for experiencing spirituality or for deciding moral values. Instead, it's that more personal connection. Quakers look for their own individual connection with God, and Unitarians have our third principle, acceptance of one another and encouragement of spiritual growth in our congregations. I'm sure when I spoke of that Quakers have this inner light, you can make a connection with our inherent worth and dignity of all living beings. Both faiths grew out of Christianity, but today neither one is creed-based. A lot of mainstream churches question the lack of creed, but for us it's freeing. That means there are Quakers and UUs who believe in God and those who do not. There are Jew-Us, Unitarians, and Jewish Quakers. There are Boo-Us, Buddhist Unitarians, and Buddhist Quakers. And of course, there's me, Unitarian Quaker. I didn't realize in my senior year that those origins were taking root. Both faiths have a strong belief in social action. Quakers, especially their service organization, the American Friends Service Committee, has been on the ground all over the world in a Red Cross manner, but their funds are more spent directly for the people they are serving. They are welcomed and trusted in times of war because of their pacifist or peace activist or conscientious objector bent. They believe in helping anyone in need. We Unitarian Universalists, we came to the international stage of service a little later, and at first we were less recognized. However, in World War II, which is where my studies were, this lack of being known proved useful. You see, the Quakers were known to help anybody. And let's just say the US and England didn't want their funds going to just help anybody. We didn't want it to end up in the Nazis' hands, specifically. The UUs, or then the USC, Unitarian Service Committee, was less known. We didn't have our chalice then even, because we didn't need to prove ourselves. But here, we jumped in to help the Quakers in rescue efforts, and the stamp, the chalice, is what gave us the credibility, credence in our international outreach efforts. In particular, this was trying to help intellectuals and children escape from Czechoslovakia first and then Vichy France. We were successful with getting many people out. Not enough, but many. Because we were less known and had that chalice, ironically, we were more trusted in that time period. The two faiths knew at that point that they were working hand in hand during the war, and they continued it afterwards. To this day, the faith service organizations, now the UUSC, share similar goals and continue to collaborate. This was particularly notable before the World War II with the abolition of slavery. The Quakers led that brigade, and the Unitarians joined in and also helped lead it. Then, as now, Quakers laid the groundwork through writing and quiet communication, and the Unitarians jumped in with outspoken gusto. It continues today. Big topics in the past decades have been prison reform, climate justice, and most recently, what I spend hours and hours on every night instead of sleeping, is connecting these organizations for refugee support. Lately, we've been collaborating on many lawsuits and actions against the current administration's ICE tactics. In particular, I've been involved with the lawsuits making sure that there's sanctuary in religious places. We failed, but we're still trying, and supporting the care of families, keeping them together, and just, we're working together very hard. One other generality, though, wait, let me just think about that. It's been really refreshing to speak with strong activists from both faiths, and both take it very seriously. I think the Quakers are doing a lot on the legal end, and then still having other people do a lot more of the speaking, but it's a coming together, and that's just really important right now. I can't overemphasize that. One other generality that the two faiths share is the democratic process. We have our General Assembly, and they have their huge annual meetings. And yes, they do talk there. It is also the case within communities. I would say from my friends and experiences in Quaker communities, there is more of a need for complete agreement and quorum, and so things move much more slowly. We agree to disagree. It's even written in the program, but we work together in different ways. So, 2 jokes. How many Quakers does it take to change a light bulb? I didn't make this up. That depends. If it's in the meeting house, then it takes the whole meeting, about 3 to 9 months. That's because the Quakers need to weightily consider whether they wouldn't be bearing a truer testimony to the inner light, not to mention simplicity, like your song, by learning to get along without the light bulb. How many Unitarian Universalists does it take to screw in a light bulb? You heard this one? There are several renditions of it. I like this one. We choose not to make a statement either in favor nor against the need of a light bulb. However, if in your own journey you have found that light bulbs work for you, that is fine. You are invited to write a poem or compose a modern dance about your light bulb. During next Sunday's service, we will explore a number of light bulb traditions, including incandescence, fluorescence, three-way, long life, and tinted, all of which are equally valid paths to luminescence. So, yes, you can see that there's openness and communication, but in slightly different ways in the two communities. To sum it up, I didn't know back then, with the 67-cent gas or the Christmas service here, that both faiths would eventually resonate so deeply with me. Or that I would someday do a doctorate on how the two service organizations work together to rescue people. Or that I'd be working, combining the two groups on a national level to try to help with pretty scary situations. But I knew that I felt at home here. I still do. And as we continue to be a welcoming community, we don't know who else, with what other powers and magic and ideas and hopes and transcendence we affect just by being welcoming here in our places and as we go out into the communities. And because of both theologies and my Jewish traditions and the synergy of joining them all, I have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do to keep doing our best to keep improving the world. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to sing 170. We are a gentle, angry people.
When the songs were chosen?
Yes.
If you're going to sing it, or if you're going to play melody on the flute, the melody is exactly the same as you've always heard it, despite whatever other things I might do. And actually, you might choose to play the melody. You might choose to, yeah. Why not? I am. Singing for us.
I love your singing, by the way, and your creativity. Opening this, Face ID. Me of 1991 could not have imagined the technology now either. Okay. The poem I'm going to share in closing, I'm embarrassed to say that I did not know until this year. And I'm so glad I know it. A Psalm of Life. Tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream. For the soul is dead that slumbers, and things are not what they seem. Life is real, life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal. Dust thou art, to dust returnest, was not spoken of the soul. Not enjoyment, and not sorrow is our destined end or way, but to act, that each tomorrow find us farther than today. Art is long, and time is fleeting, and our hearts, though stout and brave, still like muffled drums are beating funeral marches to the grave. In the world's broad field of battle, in the bivouac of life, be not like dumb, driven cattle, be a hero to the strife. Trust no future, howe'er pleasant. Let the dead past bury its dead. Act in the living present, heart within and God o'erhead. Lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime, and departing, leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. Footprints that perhaps another, sailing o'er life's solemn main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother, seeing, shall take heart again. Let us then be up and doing, with a heart for any fate, still achieving, still pursuing. Learn to labor and to wait. Thank you very much.
I can't enjoy the changing summer skies when I'm gone. And I can't comfort anyone who cries when I'm gone. And I can't be singing louder than the lies when I'm gone.
I have to say that I knew Emily when I saw this little girl with untied shoelaces walking through her hair.
I don't know how to tie my shoes.
And then when I heard she was in my class, she was a star. She was kind, sweet, and really smart. And I've been so happy that I've been able to maintain a friendship.
The pleasure is our Bengals. Good to see you all.
Thank you for coming again.
That's the first verse. That's one. Yes, he's here. I started with a Quaker poem and ended with a Unitarian one.
I'm pretty sure I was in that. And it was a surprise to me.
It was so wonderful last week.